The worst thing that's ever happened to me didn't involve a monster or a weapon or anything supernatural. That's what makes it so hard to forget. It was late winter in northern Michigan, the kind of winter that erases landmarks and turns familiar roads into endless white corridors. I'd been working a closing shift at a warehouse outside town, and by the time I clocked out, it was close to midnight. Snow had been falling all evening. By the time I pulled onto the highway, it had turned into a full-blown blizzard. I lived far enough out that the roads thinned quickly, no streetlights, no houses, just trees pressed close on both sides. My SUV had four-wheel drive, but even so I crawled along, gripping the steering wheel. No taillights. Just wind and white. I was more than halfway home when I saw her. She was walking along the shoulder of the road, barely visible through the snowfall. At first I thought she was wearing a coat, but as I slowed, I realized she wasn't. Just a thin jacket, no gloves, no hat. Her hair was wet with snow and plastered to her face. She turned toward my headlights and raised a hand. I hesitated. "Are you okay?" I asked. She leaned closer, squinting against the wind. "My ride never showed up. My phone's dead. I'm trying to get home." Her voice shook not with fear, but with cold. I asked where she lived. She shrugged. "I'm kind of lost." I cranked the heat and asked for an address. She gave me a street name, vague but plausible. 5 minutes, maybe. As we drove, she made small talk about the weather, about work, about how bad winters had been getting. She laughed at the right moments. She seemed normal. Too normal. The directions led us off the main road and into a neighborhood I didn't recognize. "Go around back," she said suddenly. "There's an alley." I slowed. "An alley." Against my better judgment, I turned. My headlights cut weakly through the swirling white, illuminating nothing beyond a few yards. "Right here," she said. I stopped behind a detached garage. The engine idled. The snow fell harder. She didn't get out. Instead, she pulled out her phone. Perfectly functional. I stared at it, a cold knot forming in my stomach. "I thought your phone was dead," I said. She didn't look at me. 1 second, that's when I saw movement. 2 figures stepped out from behind the garage. Men. Big, heavy jackets, faces shadowed by hoods. One moved toward my driver's side, the other toward hers. My pulse spiked. Before I could react, I heard a soft click. "Don't," she said sharply. "Stay." I didn't. I slammed the car into reverse. The men shouted. One slapped a hood. The woman screamed at me to stop, her voice suddenly harsh, unfamiliar. I kept going. The SUV fishtailed, then caught traction. In the mirror, I saw them chasing after me, then disappearing into the snow. The woman didn't say a word. I drove 2 blocks, then stopped and unlocked the doors. "Get out," I said. She stared at me for a long moment. Her face was empty now, flat. Then she opened the door, stepped out, and slammed it shut. I didn't watch her walk away. Something explainable. But weeks later, I heard something that changed everything. A local news article buried at the bottom of the page. 3 people arrested in connection with multiple disappearances along rural highways. 1 woman, 2 men. They would target drivers during storms, using the weather as cover. There was a photo. The woman was smiling at the camera. It was her. I still drive those roads sometimes. And every winter, when the snow starts to fall and visibility drops, I think about how close I came to being just another empty car on the side of the road. And I wonder how many people didn't drive away. This happened when I was 17, during my junior year of high school, and even now, more than a decade later, I still find myself thinking about it whenever it snows. Back then, I lived with my parents and my older brother in a quiet town outside Erie, Pennsylvania. It was the kind of place where everyone knew each other's dogs, where nothing ever really happened, and where winter settled in early and refused to leave until spring had almost given up. That year, winter came hard. Snowstorms were common, but most of them were mild, nothing more than a dusting. That night was different. By early evening, the snow was already falling thick and heavy, the kind that blurs streetlights and swallows sound. My brother and I got home from school, complained about the cold, finished our homework, and spent the rest of the night doing what we always did, watching TV, playing games, killing time. By 10 o'clock, the yard outside our front window was still mostly grass with a thin layer of white creeping across it. By midnight, it was completely gone. I remember sitting alone in the living room, the house dark, except for the glow of the TV, watching the snow fall harder and harder. The wind rattled the windows, and everything outside looked unreal, like the world had been erased and replaced with something blank. I finally went to bed just after midnight, convinced school would be canceled in the morning. I was right. I woke up early to my phone buzzing with messages snow day. No school. I smiled, pulled on a hoodie, and went downstairs. That's when I saw the yard. Every inch of snow was destroyed. Not shoveled, not plowed. Footprints covered the entire front yard so densely that no clean snow remained. Overlapping tracks, tight turns, short steps, long strides. It looked like dozens of people had spent hours pacing back and forth, deliberately making sure no part of the yard was untouched. My parents stood at the window, silent. My dad finally asked, "Did one of you go outside last night?" We both said no. The backyard was worse. The snow there looked churned, flattened, and packed down as if something had been dragged back and forth. No clear path in, no clear path out, just chaos. What made it unbearable was the neighbors' yards, perfect, smooth, untouched. It was only our house. My mom remembered the camera. They had installed a doorbell camera the year before after a break-in down the street. It wasn't great quality, but it covered the front porch and most of the yard. We watched the footage together. At 4:12 a.m., motion activated. A figure appeared at the edge of the frame, walking slowly down the middle of the road. There were no sidewalks in our neighborhood. The man wore a dark jacket, hood pulled tight, head lowered against the snow. He moved carefully, methodically, like he had all the time in the world. When he reached our driveway, he stopped. Then he turned and stepped into the yard. What happened next still makes my skin crawl. He didn't wander aimlessly. He walked in straight lines, back and forth, overlapping his own footprints again and again, tightening the pattern, pacing closer to the house, then farther away, then back again. He moved slowly, deliberately, as if following some invisible plan. At one point, he stopped, lifted his head. The image was blurry, but the pause was unmistakable. After nearly 20 minutes, he walked off camera toward the backyard. The footage didn't pick up movement again for almost 40 minutes. When it did, the man reappeared at the side of the house. He was walking backwards, slowly, never turning around. He reached the road, turned, and disappeared into the storm. That was it. No other activity. No reason. The police were called, but they couldn't explain it. No neighbors recognized him. No similar incidents were reported. Life went on, but things felt different after that. For weeks, I had trouble sleeping. Then one night, about a month later, it snowed again. Not a blizzard, just a steady, quiet fall. I woke up around 3:30 a.m. for no reason at all. The house was silent. I went to the window. The yard was smooth, perfect. Then I noticed something near the tree at the edge of the property, a shape. The shape didn't move, didn't step forward, didn't leave footprints. It just stood there, barely visible against the snow, like it was waiting. I blinked. The shape was gone. In the morning, the yard was untouched. No footprints, no tracks, nothing. My parents moved 2 years later. I moved out soon after. But every winter, when snow falls fresh and heavy, I still think about that night. About the man who walked every inch of our yard. About how careful he was. And about the thought that keeps me awake sometimes. What if he wasn't trying to mess up the snow?